Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here today. We are moving to a special meeting of the Dearborn Heights City Council. It's called to order today at 6:56 p.m. Madam Clerk, or Madam Deputy Clerk, can you please take roll call?
Hassan Ahmad,
Present.
Mo Baidoun,
Present.
Nancy Breyer,
Here.
Robert Constant,
Present.
Denise Malinowski Maxwell,
Here.
Hassan Saab,
Present.
Tom Wenzel.
Here. We're split down the middle between presents and here's, huh? I
You
usually
have a
do here,
quorum.
but
Council Chair, you have a quorum.
thank you so much, Madam Deputy Clerk. Next up, we have the Pledge of Allegiance. We're going to have our very own former Council Chair Pro Tem, Councilman Muscat, who loves me on social media, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Former Councilman, as always, my Councilman, thank you.
How about a moment of silence for the children that lost their lives in
Atlanta. Yeah, school shooting.
Georgia?
We're going to do a moment of silence for those children that lost their lives at Atlanta. Thank you, Councilman. And also for the teacher. You know, that's devastating. It really is.
Every year.
Our problems are all peanuts compared to that.
I agree, you know, life is just passing by. Next up, we have the agenda approval.
Council Chair,
Councilman Saab.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the amended agenda for the special meeting of September 5th, 2024 as submitted.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Saab, seconded by Councilman Ahmad. Any discussion on the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the ayes have it, motion carries. That was Councilman Ahmad. Approved by all. There's no approval of the minutes. Next up, we have public hearing and comments on agenda items only. Sir, please state your name, the city you reside in, and the street that you live on. You got 2 minutes.
Ray Muscat, Havelock Street, Dearborn Heights.
Thank you, sir.
Question, with this reduction of the city budget, which is commonly known, we can do, well, I shouldn't say we, you guys could do that because it's.
You as well.
It's a living, breathing document. How are you going to do this? Is this going to be a line by line, going through each line item and eliminating how much money we need to balance this? Or is it already made up of what you're going to do?
That's a great question. This is Councilman Saab's resolution, so I believe he's either going to go line item by line item or explain to us as to where he's coming up with his numbers. I know at the budget hearing meeting, I don't know if you remember that one, it was all over the social media, and we had all the, everybody here, he requested it, and we said, if you want to have these removed, tell us from where. So I'm sure he's coming prepared today.
Okay, because, you know, there's always word on the street, always. There's nothing you can do about it. And I'm hoping the word on the street isn't correct, because I posted certain things on social media about what I heard on the street.
Yeah.
Now, if we don't, you know, we cut back so much money where people lose their jobs, which I'm not in favor of. And we just had a study session here where an engineer may be going down to part-time. We can't afford to do that either. So to me, if you guys want to seriously think about eliminating $750,000 from the budget, you look at your very own budget, right along with your cell phones and things of like that nature, and tell the people that you're willing to give up some of this money. Okay? Because if you don't give up some of that stuff, $50,000 to $100,000 is ludicrous. When I was a councilman, what we have, $3,000? Okay? In our legal budget? Okay? And that was it. And we never had cell phones, even though I wanted a cell phone. But if you're going to cut $750,000, a cell phone is not needed. Just think about that. It's not needed when there's $750,000 to be cut. Just think about that, and everybody else is watching. Have a good day.
Real quick, I'm going to just have a few things, Councilman. Just keep in mind a few things. Legally speaking, for protecting this legislative body, and you know it firsthand we get phone calls nonstop. And when you get a phone call on your phone, the second you start talking city business, that phone is now option to be confiscated by the police department. It can be FOIA'd. And so for the protection and ethically speaking, because I actually had this conversation with, I'll tell you, my great friend Dave Kniezek. And I said, one of the things that I read on social media, just so happens to be you, I said, what do you think about that? I said, because personally, I don't really care to give up my phone. They can take it. My personal phone or the other phone. I got nothing to hide, right? And he said, well, Mo, I work for, the county, I work for, the state, and each one of my departments, I have to have a phone for my own protection. Ethically, you should all have a phone, including the mayor, the treasurer, and the clerk, any elected official, for that purpose reason. So that is probably the reason why, but I mean, really, I think in the phones, I think we spent, what is it, like $14,000 or $24,000 for the entire year. As far as
For city council or
Not
for the
even,
whole
no.
city?
Not even, yeah, it was like very, very little. The phones were free because we opt in with, I think, T-Mobile or something. So we didn't pay for any of the phones. We pay a servicing for the year. And that really is for.
So you got to stand on your fence and hold your legs up like this to get reception?
You're right, because we had Verizon, it probably would have been better. But to your second point, Ray, and I'm going to tell you this, you on council in support of special legal counsel, where the Third Circuit Court ruled in support of your favor on your second motion, because it was actually the
But we
former
went through
councilman,
the
it was Bill.
corporation council too.
Yeah, it was your second that allowed for special legal counsel, which you guys set aside money for. And it was also your second for the audit that you guys wanted to also do, which we spent tons and thousands of dollars, which I'm gonna tell you for the record, is well over $100,000 on each year, which I will also show you if you want. Well over $100,000.
I never seen those bills.
Yeah, well, I want you to know, well over 100,000, and me and the clerk have spoken on those, so I want you to know. And I want to take back the $100,000 that were talked about on social media. $50,000 was assigned for last year, which was $0 was spent towards legal counsel, which went back into the general ledger. We set aside $100,000, consuming the old $50,000, put there saying, in case you have to pay any back bills. But the agreement we made with special legal counsel was, once we go to federal court, when the judge gives us a ruling, we will see. There's been very little spent on this.
Okay, so let me ask you a question.
Yes.
If no bills have been submitted here, how are they getting paid?
They haven't gotten paid. They're
Well,
not, they've done no work.
Well, from
We're
my
waiting on a
understanding,
judge's
you did a lot of
ruling.
work. Your attorney was here and working as your attorney here one night.
Special legal counsel has come here a couple of times, but has not given us a bill, because I'm going to tell you, what did he come for? An hour?
Yeah, but he said that he was working as your, so he's not charged, so that's pro bono?
He has not given us a bill at this
So it's pro
point.
bono. So I got to find out what the quid pro quo is on that.
Correct, and there's no quid pro quo, because we're not.
If somebody's not going to do something for free, that's all
I can tell you right now. When you say things like that, again, you're insinuating that we're doing something. Well, what are you guys doing?
I'm not saying what
Correct.
I'm not saying that you're saying, but somewhere along the line, somebody's going to say, I did this, you owe me.
Yeah, and you know what that would be?
Somewhere.
That would be illegal. But
Okay.
until somebody does that, and until you can show proof somebody has done that, we shouldn't be shedding light on something that has never happened.
And
Because if
don't-
it doesn't happen, and we say it, and it's just like we're causing all this this fear in people's minds that there is a quick pro quo that's going to happen.
But again, don't forget, the circuit court also said that we had to go through corporation counsel to hire that other attorney.
Yeah.
I don't know if this was done this time.
When everything we did went properly as they.
I'm not going to get into
Yeah.
that, but all I'm saying, even if it's $50,000, it's a lot of money.
You're right.
When it's $750,000, it's a lot of money.
But $0 of that 50,000
I
was
don't care.
spent.
I don't care, because there's positions in
Well,
the
you do
city-
care because you spoke about it.
But hang on a minute, because we know in the budget, you budget for X amount of policemen, and so you put in that kind of money, even though their policemen aren't there.
Correct.
You don't take that money out of there.
Yes, it goes back into the general ledger.
Yeah, I understand, but you don't take it away that year. You never have, and you never will, okay?
No.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah. Thanks, Ray.
Council Chair.
I'm going to go with Councilman Saab first, Councilman Ahmad. Actually, I'll go with Councilwoman and then Councilman Ahmad.
So, Council Chair, just to Mr. Muscat's, you said you posted and you heard some stuff on social media. And what was that? Can you please? Yes, please. Yes, please. Because I'm not aware of such information.
See, this is the part that upsets me, because I've never been a deal maker. Never once did I make a deal. Okay? I'm just saying, I never made a deal. But when I hear on social media, or not just social media, when I hear from the general public that a job in the mayor's office is going to be discontinued, the city engineer is going to be cut to part-time. Now, I do know something with Plant Moran and Wade Trim may be cut back. To me, if all of that is true, I'm just saying if it's true, your minds were already made up. You're not going line by line.
I have no idea where you're bringing that. I'm bringing an engineer to a part-time.
I'm just saying of what the squawk on the street is.
To be honest with you, hold on one second. Sorry, Council Chair. My whole purpose of the amendments I'm trying to make and lower the budget is to actually hire people in the city for help.
I'm not disagreeing
So
with you.
whoever is giving you such false, cowardly information is false. And the mayor's office has 3 positions.
Correct.
One of them is a floater that they took away from the treasurer's office, the clerk's office, around that's gone. But why does he have 3? No other department has them.
But the mayor's office has had 2 or 3 people there for a long time.
Clerk's office doesn't have any.
Well, I'm
It's a presidential election.
I'm just saying, the squawk on the street is what it is.
It's
Now, you guys have to step up and show us that you're going to.
and just for-
Hang on a second, and you're going to have to do it the right way. Go line by line,
that's
just like you did in April.
That's exactly what I'm doing here.
Okay.
And just for the record, as for the statement, the false statement that was put on that group this morning, just for somebody saying I called somebody and said the effing or whatever it was that was posted, that was completely false.
Oh, you said what?
There's somebody put on there that I called the secretary and told her you're gonna effing lose
I
your
don't
job.
know anything
Is that
about
what you're
that.
talking about?
No.
No.
So actually, that was sent an email to that young female that works in the mayor's office.
That I don't
She
know.
actually emailed us on Saturday, and she actually reached out to me. In no way, no form, way, shape, or form, any of that conversation happened that I cursed her or anything, and I
This
had
is the
a
first I've
healthy
heard of that.
conversation with her.
Me both.
But this is something that's false.
I
that's
just
being
wanted-
put,
I just wanted-
misinformation. And all this is, and really, the mayor's office has 3 part-time positions, and no other department, they took, during the budget, every one of those part-time positions away. Why do we have 3 in one office?
Listen, this is for you guys to figure
And-
out, go line by.
and this is
it's
exact-
all- And you're
Mr.
entitled to
and
do
Mr.
that.
Mr. Muscat, and I respect your voice and everything, and again, we, during the budget season, when we were going through the budget, item by item, we asked the police department multiple times, do we have enough officers? They said yes. Do we have enough dispatchers? They said yes. The current word around the streets that we defunded the police department. So I'm asking this body and council chair, hold on a second, to actually put a study session together where I'd like to bring our comptroller, Plant Moran, and everybody back, and I want to open up the books for the police department, because I want to see where we defunded the police department. Because as of yesterday, it was made in front of multiple people that we defunded the police department. And to this day, I still can't figure out how we defunded it.
That's not.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying.
I
so
can
that-
answer that.
Roger, please don't interrupt.
My head like.
And I'm just putting on the record that.
Can we get to the agenda?
Yeah, but I want to
I'd be knocking on your door if you defunded the police
I would
department,
never.
okay?
Just so the misinformation here online is false. All I'm trying to do
Look,
is,
you guys can call- you
we're
guys
spending
got
$1
my phone
million
number?
on something you guys
You guys
approved
can
for
call me.
$100,000, and I want to bring it in-house, get more, if the comptroller needs an assistant, the treasurer's
Look,
office needs
there's
an
a lot of
assistant.
things that are.
Mr. Deeb needs an assistant.
There's a lot of things that are good. I just want to go line by line by
Okay, and we
line.
will, and this is what this is
Hang
for.
on, guys, this
I
is-
got
All
one
right,
other
let's get
thing.
Well, hang on, time out, Councilman, Ray, you're the man. I love you. You know how much I love you. But we have to hold off. Right now.
Okay.
We are on agenda items.
Well, okay.
You've spoken agenda items.
Did you text
Councilman-
me your address so I can bring you that sauce?
I am. We're gonna, me and Angie are gonna come over and see you too. I'm gonna go over with the councilwoman next. Thanks, Ray.
Okay. Well, first of all, I do think it does look, we keep defunding things, and really, that's not what we want to do. For instance, number one, the Wade trim, if we take away 150,000, we have city projects right now that are in need of having things done, and that money has to be spent to finish them. And item number two, Plant Moran, we have over 40 accounts, and until those are corrected, there are issues and money has to be spent. Number three, the mayor's office, eliminate the part-time position. The answer to some of your questions, we had two ladies that each had babies, so they had time off after that. So we had to have additional people be there in the office. You can't walk in and have nobody but maybe the mayor there. You have to have some help. So that happened this year. And then for the legal fees, the outside counsel,
Councilwoman, you know we're on agenda items. You're speaking already about the actual item.
Yeah, I
Can you
am.
save that for when we open it up to discussion?
okay,
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. but
That's all
You're
right.
speaking at agenda items, which is for the public right now. So Councilman, I'm going to ask you not to, are you speaking on agenda items?
No, I just wanted to put on record about the phones. That's it. I pulled the record, and it's $42 for each council member a month.
Okay,
So-
yeah.
So
But they
it's
can
not-
I'll pay my $42 gladly.
Really,
Please state your name, the city you reside in, and the street that you, actually give my phone back. I don't want it. Yeah, take my phone.
Okay, Zuhair Abdulhat, Rosemary. I know the city council had no intention whatsoever to defund the police. And I personally put forward the motion to eliminate two jobs, the directors, and nothing was against the directors for their quality or who they are. The whole intention was about the process to be followed. That's the only thing, we have in mind, that we're trying to force the administration to follow the charter, to follow Act 78, and to follow the law. Simple and easy. He can bring anybody he wants because he is the executive of the city. Now, my suggestion to you, if you're going to take money away from Waitrim or wherever, I like you to invest this money in training our people or new people to do the job within the house. So we don't have to spend in the long run millions of dollars on things we can do for a lot cheaper. So my advice to you, please, if you're taking money away, put it on the side and put it into training for people so they can do it in-house. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. We got one on Zoom. Madam Clerk, please unmute Mr. Oon. Mr. Oon, he did ask for an additional minute on this meeting part two, and for public comments as well. So he's got 3 minutes here and he's got 4 minutes at closing remarks. Go ahead, Mr. Owen.
Sorry, guys, I got hungry. I came to taco, but anyways, the resolution that Mr. Saab put in to eliminate the position, just to let you guys know that position's illegal. So basically, if Mr. Saab takes it off and the mayor puts it back in, that position becomes legally. So the position that Mr. Saab is putting in and taking away, if somebody wants to come and they qualify for that position, the mayor can put that position and nobody's gonna sit there and say something about it because you guys will vote on it. Am I correct?
No, you're wrong.
Then how's it working then? What is this, taking it off completely?
Correct.
And the mayor cannot come up, okay, we're gonna fill this position up?
I'm not going to speak on this because there's an injunction and I don't want to say too much.
Well, I'd like to suspend the rules to amend it.
Mr. Cash.
No, I'm being serious. I'm asking to suspend the rules, put the motion on the floor to amend Mr. Saab's resolution, okay? And then put the resolution to amend it where the mayor can bring it back if somebody else qualifies. That's my amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Owen. We can have that discussion when that time comes up.
Well, you're gonna vote on it today, aren't you?
Yeah, and we'll have that discussion. So will that be duly noted?
That duly noted that this thing can be brought up. If you don't want me to suspend the rules, as long as you put it that the mayor can amend, that we can amend it and put a position to fill a position for somebody, that's no problem. I agree to it. Other than that, I'm not, this position, if it's eliminated and you bring somebody and you need somebody maybe,
They would have to come back for the council.
it'll go back in front of council, am I correct?
Correct.
Why'd you tell me that that's not how it is? So you're putting the amendment in there right now?
It is already in there.
It's already in there, Mr. Owen.
That's all I was asking. You should have said yes. Why you go back and forth? I'm trying to eat my Taco Bell and you're sitting there going back and forth. Come on, man.
Mr. Owen, are you all done here?
Hey, Mo, it's not halal. If you want some, I'll bring you some.
I get to laugh because I'm sitting back here.
All right. Tell Zuhair I said hi. Bye, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Owen. Next up, we have our Chief of Staff, Mariana Hernandez. Are you speaking as the Chief of Staff? Or are you speaking as a resident?
Good afternoon. I am speaking as the Chief of Staff, and I just wanted to mention that there seems to be a lot of confusion with regards to the part-time positions in the mayor's office. We've always had part-timers there. It was unfortunate that I couldn't be there today. I wish that it had been notified to the administration and the controller that these issues were going to be discussed. But just for clarification, the salary last year for part-time positions, and it doesn't matter how many positions we have, it is a part-time position. It's $56,500. That amount was already cut this year to $24,720. And I do recommend that you do not take that position away because, as Ms. Breyer mentioned, and everybody knows, I did just have a baby. So we have been using that part-time position more so this year than we ever have in the past. But again, we had already made a significant cut into that part-time position. My recommendation would be if you really want to cut part-time hours from people, then cut 2,000 from all the part-timers in the city, not specifically the mayor's department. That way we can try to do some coverage in all of the departments rather than take one full position away.
Thank you, Mariana. Any other discussions on agenda items only? Seeing none, we can move on. Reports from city officials, none. Petition from citizens, none. Ordinance and resolutions. Councilman Saab's resolution amendment to budget to address the $750,000 reduction discussed at the budget hearing.
Council Chair,
Councilman Saab.
file a motion that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the resolution regarding amendments to the budget to address the $750,000 reduction discussed at the budget hearing. And for record and disclosure, we're going to go this item by item and discuss item by item on this motion and decide on what we want to do line item by.
Can you read the 1 through 5 real quick for
Yes,
me?
number one would be weight trim to amend and reduce the budget allocation by $150,000. Number two would be Plant Moran, amend and reduce the budget allocation by $120,000. Number three, Mayor's Office, eliminate the part-time position. Number four, legal fees, amend and reduce the budget by corporation counsels outside counsel by $275,000. Number five, Director of Operation to budget to the police department to budget and remove this vacant position from the budget with the funds coming back to the general funds. The mayor may bring back this position if needed in the future with a qualified person with council's approval. The mayor is not to introduce any new position without the council's approval. That currently is not part of Act 78, but I wanted to amend that and remove the last sentence on that where it says the act part of Act 78. And these adjustments are necessary due to the administration's lack of action addressing the budgetary concerns previously raised and voted on by the Dearborn Heights City Council as outlined in 11A.
Motion made by Councilman Saab,
Support for discussion.
supported by Councilman Ahmad. All right. Any
Council-
discussion on this?
Yes, Council Chair.
Saab.
I put these items on for discussion. It would have been better to actually go different resolutions, but it was just to make it shorter. With weight trim and Plant Moran, we have huge expenses with them every year. And my goal is to reduce their presence in the city by hiring people in the city, by hiring people to do work directly under Mr. Deeb or our Comptroller Shannon, or have people that we can reach out to anytime and have access to them here and train these people where we'd be saving money on the residents. This is not to just throw numbers. It's just that really the amount of money we spent every year is just ridiculous, where Mr. Deeb can have another engineer in his department or have a supervisor in his department, where if we're taking that money back, it's being used in the city. Somebody in-house trained that if Mr. Deeb is on vacation, there's somebody to cover him. And I'm not saying that we're not going to use weight trim on projects or CSO, we need consultant firms, but to reduce their presence and us handling everything to weight trim, I think our comptroller is doing a phenomenal job, but she does need assistance. And so that's where I bring these items to the body, that our goal is to bring more in-house into the city instead of contracting everything out. And that's where most of our money, residents, taxpayer money is going. Keep it in-house, train people, educate people, put people in positions that can help. A department shouldn't have one person. We shouldn't have one person leading in 4 or 5 consultants. Why pay triple or quadruple the price when we can do it for a salary in the city with fringe benefits and so on? So if anybody has other recommendations for items number 1 and 2, please come forward with me on it. And as for the mayor's position, the part-time secretary, this is not against any one individual, whether they had a baby or not. This is not. There was, when we discussed this, there was 2 positions and a floater. The floater was supposed to go around to every department. They're not using that position. I'd rather get that position and put it in the clerk's office or the treasurer's office. We have a presidential election this year. They're short-staffed. They're overworked. This is not to cut $2,000 from every department. There's departments that don't have the help. And item number 4, legal fees. All we keep getting is legal bills every single month. Like, we get the bills. We don't know what the budget is every year for corporation counsels, outside counsel, or opinions. They can go out for 30 opinions a month without us knowing. We just get the bills. And some of the bills are ridiculous. If we have an attorney in the city, a city attorney, and they need help, hire another attorney. And as for the number 5, for the director of operations in the city, if this position was so critical, it's been vacant for 2 months. Like I said, if the mayor wants to bring it back to council for approval later on with somebody that's qualified, we have no issue doing that. But right now, we can hire more police officers or get better equipment with that money. And,
So I'll just, if that's okay, Councilman, I will say a couple of things. I agree on some of these contractual services, but you have to keep in mind, as far as wage trim right now, we got some of the biggest projects the city has seen. So for us to cut $150,000 could potentially hinder the growth of these projects that we're doing. That's my number 1. And I don't want to go really go through the weeds too much on it, but I mean, can we cut some of that? Sure, as 150,000. You have to really tell me how this number came about. Like, we can't just say cutting 150,000. It has to say, well, you know what, we're going to gradually do it. We'll do 25 now. We'll do 25 next year. We'll do 50 the following. Then that, you can kind of gradually start saying, we were able to work with, say they have a budget for 300,000. We took 25. And we, in a couple of months, we took another 25. We say, okay, for that year, we save $50,000. But to come one lump sum, cut off 150,000, it's going to be a little hard. Just let me finish, and then you can go through it. As far as Plant Moran Gap at 120,000, I'm going to tell you right now. I sat in a meeting with Plant Moran Gap, and I asked them to cut $50,000. We were once paying them almost $850,000. They are now at close to 400,000 or 500,000. 350. Or 350,000. They were at 800. So they're gradually going away. I can tell you right now, it would be doing a disservice to the comptroller's office, who's only been here with us for a couple of months, if we try to eliminate anything on Plant Moran Gap. Look, there's nobody here that's been more vocal on eliminating Plant Moran Gap than myself. I've actually called Brian and said it to him, you need to leave our city. However, we know what's going to happen. If we let this go, the work that they've done for the last 3 years could potentially hurt us. So and I've spoken with Mehdi on this. I've spoken with, who's the interim deputy comptroller. And I spoken with the comptroller just today before coming into this meeting. She said, Mo, I want them gone. But right now, you'd be hurting us if they left. And let me tell you, the last thing I want to do is say I supported something and eliminated a position. And then, we start seeing, we went through 6 different comptrollers. But what I can tell you with my conversation to Brian is, Shannon gets it. He said, out of the 6, this one understands it. So to me, it's like you got to be able to give and take. As far as I'm going to go through them. As far as the mayor's position, look, to the mayor, and this is nothing, I swear it's nothing personal. If the treasurer is going to lose theirs and the clerk's going to lose theirs and they're understaffed and we had to make certain budget cuts, then having 3 positions is not necessary. I agree with you on that. That one, you have me on that one. The budget of outside counsel by 75,000, I can tell you this. What we can do is start telling corporation counsel, you want to go out for legal opinions, you must get our consent first. And I'm not saying, he's going to have to go for consent on every single thing, but if he's going to start getting consent for anything over $500, bring him before the council. Right? If we're going to be, we have a corporation counsel for a reason, and the quote unquote last meeting the mayor said was, well, we have somebody in-house and we're not being charged an hourly pay, but I'll tell you something, we're getting a lot of opinion letters. You're right. We are getting a lot of opinion letters, but I'm sure Roger needs those opinion letters, and we gotta keep in mind that if we need these certain opinion letters, it could be, again, for the city. So if you wanna be able to critique it or tailor it a little bit where you say, hey, Roger, you're doing too much of this, we need to slow it down, tell Roger, before you start getting opinion letters, get our approval. Roger says, hey, guys, I need to go out for an opinion letter on 1, 2, and 3, and put it before us. I agree, Roger, you shouldn't be spending $50,000 on opinion letters a year. That's a lot of money. We're talking about the $50,000 in special legal counsel. We got over $50,000 in opinion letters. There's so many different avenues happening here, and I feel like sometimes everybody's so quick to just, point their finger at the council. The council, let's call them when there's an issue. The council, let's call them when this is happening. The council, they're the bad ones. They're the ones that are spending $100,000 on special legal counsel. We're only spending $100,000 on special legal counsels because the council is being stripped away from its powers. That's the truth, and I don't want to speak too much of it, but if the council makes a decision and then the city gets sued and the corporation council says, you guys have no say in anything, the council needs to be able to protect its voting power. And right now, that's why we have special legal counsel. As far as number 5 goes, I agree. This council from the position from the beginning where I stand, and I stood firmly with this on the mayor, this position, if the mayor wants it, should come to the council. He needs to come to the city council if you're going to create a new director position. Plain and simple. I mean, if the position existed in the past, then you're appointing somebody to a director position is one thing. But creating a brand new position and saying to the council, I'm going to give this much money and you have no say in any of it, it's wrong. But this position is clearly vacant. We haven't had it for 2 months. If the mayor feels like he has somebody that he wants to fill this seat, bring him before the council. There's nothing wrong with that. And I like the fact that you want to leave the money in the police department and we're not stripping that money away from the police department. Maybe the police chief tomorrow says, you know what, I want to hire a deputy chief. And he brings somebody through the rankings of Act 78 and now you still have that money to put somebody as the deputy chief. Because at one point we had a deputy chief in Dearborn Heights. We no longer have one, but I would love to see that. But that's here nor there. I'm not a police officer, nor do I work in the police department, and nor do I want to be in the trenches of the police department because, that's what our men and women in our police department do. But that's where I personally stand on this. I can tell you right now, cut a little bit from weight trim. I think we need to just slow down on Plant Moran Gap. I think you should give Brian a call because he said to me, I should have called Brian, I should have reached out to Councilman Saab, and you should have this conversation because, look, Brian's also in the business of making money. All he's going to do is go from being Plant Moran Gap to auditing our books at the end of the year and still making money. So to him, wherever he stands, but he said, Mo, you guys need help. The comptroller's department and the treasurer's department is doing so many mistakes that if we leave, taxpayers are gonna be affected.
Council Chair.
Yes, sir.
So this is for discussion, and yes, I agree. And this is why I asked for your opinion. As for weight trim for growth, honestly, the whole purpose is to get Mr. Deeb assistance in the city, like to relieve on contractual services and put it in-house. And I think everybody on this body would agree, $150,000, well, I can work with it. I can go to $75,000. But the only reason I put this kind of position is if we're gonna hire somebody in at full-time, or fringes and everything, this is a good salary to start off with, or maybe 2 people. That's where I came out with these numbers. The comptroller's office, hey, I tell you, she's A1. I'm not disagreeing with you, but she needs assistance in her office, not a contractor, in her office.
I agree with you.
And this is where I came up with these numbers. Yes, do you want me to cut them in half? I'm willing, and I have no issue with it. My thing is that I'm trying to bring city employees in, trained, in-house, that we do have a supervisor out on the field looking over the streets, checking out streets that are bad, or whatever projects that Mr. Deeb has. If he's on one side of the town, another assistant's on the other side of the town. That's how the city should operate.
And you have great intention on this, and I'll tell you
and this is where the numbers came up. I'm not trying to eliminate the positions or eliminate weight trim or Plant Moran by any means. I'm just trying to say, hey, let's lower their presence a bit and let's give them more help, more assistance, more work for them in-house. And me personally, I'd like to see 100% of the comptroller's office ran by city employees, no outside contracts. But I know it's not going to happen overnight. Yeah. It's going to take time.
You have great intentions, by the way, and I love.
And as for the legal fees with Roger, I have no issue if he comes back with consent. We can have $1 million as long as he gets consent from us. I just think it's too much. So this is nothing personal against anybody. This is actually telling the administration, here's money, hire more people.
But just come through council.
Come through council, that's it.
Council Chair?
Councilman Ahmad.
Thank you, Council Chair. I just want to echo whatever you said, and I want to thank Councilman Saab for bringing this forward. But I wish it was like separated, like you said. For number one and number two, Wade Trim and Plan Moran, we're not like cutting their budget. Basically, we're cutting contractual services budget. So you cannot just cut their budget. We're cutting the contractual
Right.
services budget. I mean, for Wade Trim, like Council Chair said, we have so many projects out there. What we would do, I would love to see it go out for bids and have another consulting company probably, so it'll be more competitive
I'm for that.
that way. So I don't know if that's possible. I mean, I know they've been here forever, so I would love to see the contract going out for bid, so we can have maybe more than one person, more than one company. For Plan Moran, I mean, like Council Chair, from day one, I want them to be out. But to be honest with you, I mean, I know Shannon, she's an A-plus personnel, and she's doing a great job. But like he said, she still needs some time, and I think we still need them here in the city.
Okay.
And hoping, I had a productive conversation with her, and she promised, hopefully by
Yeah.
next fiscal year, that hopefully they'll be out. But I'm gonna push for
No,
that
no,
too.
quote unquote. And I told her, I don't know if you remember this, but I have a memory of an elephant. You're gonna say this, and the next year I'm gonna bring this up to you. She said she promises to cut most of what we're paying Plant Moran Gap today, which is 350,000.
Correct. And according to
So-
Shannon, she's still missing one more person in her department. She's missing one. She needs one more employee. For the mayor's office, I mean, I know you said, I don't know what Mariana said, there's two part-times. I know they're maternity leave. I
No,
mean,
one of them's not in the
No.
mayor's office, though. The part-time that's, the one that sent us an email, doesn't work with, the special legal, or,
is she still on? I mean, is Mariana
No,
still
she
on?
works in the mayor's office. Yeah,
Can you unmute?
she's
Yeah,
the
please.
confidential secretary.
fairness for the mayor's office.
Mariana, are you still here?
Sorry, I am.
Hello, Chief of Staff. So how many part-timers we have in the mayor's office right now?
So they have been a little bit in rotation because our part-timers are college students. I'm so sorry.
Mm-hmm.
One of them was not a college student, and she did have a baby, so she is still with us, and she helps very few hours. So again, that's why with the part-timers, it's more about the salary rather than like the total amount of money, right, that we have, and it can be split between various people. So we do have currently a young lady that started about 2 weeks ago that is sitting in the front desk, and we do still have on payroll the other employee that was not a college student but is currently with her baby.
Is that Stephanie?
No, she
No, Stephanie's a full-time employee.
Okay.
And I also wanted to clarify with regards to the floater position. That was a full-time floater position that we had proposed that we did want to split between the clerical, the treasurer, and anybody else in City Hall that needed the help. But that was not for a part-time position. That was a proposal for a new full-time position. This would be a permanent person that rotates with the seasons across the different departments that we had discussed during the budget season. But that never came to fruition because we never had enough money for the floater. The part-timers have always been the part-timers, and there were, I believe, a little bit of cuts in the clerk's department and the treasurer's department as well. I agree, but as I mentioned, there were also cuts in the mayor's department. And the problem with the mayor's department is that I'm mostly in the office, but I'm constantly in meetings with directors, right? And I'm in various different locations. I'm talking with the grant people, I'm talking with the directors. And we only have Stephanie as a full-time person. So let's say Stephanie takes lunch, then there's no coverage in the office at all. So that's why it's a critical position to have that part-timer, because it typically covers our lunch hours. Even though we do try to coordinate that.
Chief of Staff, I have a,
Hang on. Councilman Ahmad.
I just have a few more things that I wanted to touch base with. And I do highly recommend that it's better if we just do this in a study session with the controller present and the HR director there so we can clarify any questions.
Mariana, I want you to know that at the last meeting, we said we were gonna do this on Wednesday.
Back to Wade Trim, I know that you're talking about $150,000, but from what I recall with Wade Trim, and you can look at the minutes from the last meeting as well, we don't have $150,000 in our general fund money. Most of the money that goes to them comes from water and highway. So I know that you're trying to cut the general fund expenses, But cutting weight trim doesn't really have that big of an impact because the amount of money that comes from the general fund for weight trim is minimal. And it's a little bit of work that they do for the building and engineering department, but it's not even $150,000. So it's critical that we take a look at that. And we did give you the breakdown of all of the invoices that we had from weight trim. So we would just have to look at that and see like what from the general fund you want to cut. Or if you really do want to cut from water and sewer and highways, then that's another conversation because those are typically contractual terms that we have with that company that has been awarded the engineering services for those projects, including our CSOs and our, as you were discussing earlier, some of our major and local road projects and things like that. So I would just be cautious and rather than voting on it today, I would just encourage all of you to have a study session on this budget.
Thank you, Chief of Staff. I'm sorry, you got me confused about the part-time position. So do we have two right now in the mayor's office? Or one? Because since one is on maternity
So we
leave.
have one that's currently present, working physically in the office.
Just one,
We have
okay.
one that's on the books, right? We haven't removed her from our HR payroll because she's on maternity right now. Well, not
Okay.
maternity, because they don't get maternity, you know? But she has expressed that she would like to come back. And if she can work on small projects here and there, she would like to do that.
Okay.
So Mariana, I'm sorry, I had one more question. So you said you filled up this position 2 weeks ago?
Yes, we had another lady that was working, but she took another position. So again, that's the problem with part-timers. When they find a full-time job or a better option, they tend to leave. And that's why earlier I said, you can't really count how many people, because in 1 year you may have 10 part-timers, but that doesn't mean that they're going to exceed the $20,000 that we have allocated for the hourly amount of time that they can work for us.
So currently, right now, you hired another part-time employee that started, you said, 2 weeks ago? Or somebody left
The
2
other
weeks
person
ago?
left. Yeah, so it's a rotational position depending on the seasons and the availability of the people.
So,
How many do we have? 2, 1, 3? How many do we have? Do we have 3?
No, we've never had 3.
Okay.
I mean, to be honest with you, it doesn't matter if we have 10, it's just a budget. Either, instead of eliminating a part-time position, you can reduce the budget. Instead of giving them 50,000, for example, give them 25,000. They can hire 10 people if they want for the part-time position. So it doesn't matter how many positions he has, it matters how much money he's spending on part-timers. I know. Thank you, Mariana, for all the,
Correct, and that's what we already did. So last year, the budget for part-time was 56,000, and this year it's 25.
25,000 for the part-time?
Correct, so we already had cut it in half, just like we did with all the other part-timers in the department. So again, if you want to continue to do more cuts across the part-time positions, we can consider that again during a study session and see how we can get the coverage that's necessary for all the departments and how many more cuts we can afford.
No.
Council Chair. It's my understanding that City Hall is still closing for lunch hour, is that
Yeah.
correct?
yes.
So we really don't
I
need-
didn't say it though, because I just didn't want to get back in the back and forth. but-
No, I mean.
Mariana, I know you said during lunch that, you have one of the part-timers cover you during lunch. City Hall's closed during lunch.
We
Right.
have not closed for lunch in about 2 years. It's been a while, so no, we don't close for lunch anymore.
Wow, that's awesome. I did not know that. But Okay.
Thank you, Chief of Staff. Number 4, I'm not sure, do we have I can't recall the budget for the outside legal,
You want to ask Roger?
Yeah, I'll address it, Councilman. In 2000, I got this numbers from the controller. 2022, 2023, we had it at 342,000.
just for
And I
the,
can't, yeah, just for this outside counsel. And when I came in 2000, end of 2022, 2023, 2024, I reduced it to 202,000. 24 to 25, we've reduced it now to 75,000. That's what I'm doing to make sure we reduce it. And yes, you do get bills, but we've increased the litigation. There are issues we're tackling with the police and the fire in good faith because, when you're looking, you need experts in labor law in certain areas, like, for instance, retiree health care benefits. That's caused Hamtramck, that's caused Detroit to go bankrupt. Because if you're not on top of that, And everyone wants, we want to be fair to our firefighters and police officers, but we have to also understand the consequences. There's a lot more litigation, there's, in the city, but being in-house, I'm able to manage it and do a lot of the work. That's why I can go from 342 to 75,000. Then you took 60,000 away from my budget, which I'm going for a restorative justice program with Judge Turfy and Wayne County Prosecutor to put something in us for our juveniles, for our middle school kids and for our high school kids. The restorative justice program is, we're looking for private funding, and I'm completing the work with, in getting our civic association complete legally. It's already incorporated, but we're getting the 501c3 status finished, so all of our commissions can raise money. We can't do it as a city, but the commissions under the 501c3 can raise money for the different groups, and we've gone backwards and forth with emails with you guys.
Thank you, Mr.
So we're
Farina.
looking at creative programs, but my budget went from 342 to 75.
75, so
And
basically if we.
I'm about keeping it low. Yeah, you get bills every month, of course you can.
Thank you very much. But I do agree with Council Chair. I mean, if we can, if you can run it by us before you send it out for opinion, that would be great. Moving to number 5, Councilman Saab, that's a no-brainer. I do agree 100% with number 5, so I would hope you can amend your motion. Maybe we can take the other 4 to a study session like you probably would be better, and to go ahead and vote on number 5 right now.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Council Chair, if I may address number 5. We're in contract negotiations. It's a collective bargaining agreement with that position and with command officers. We even had a tentative contract, a tentative agreement signed last night in terms of meeting with the positions of director, new positions with captains, sergeants. It's a complete board that we're dealing with wages, hours, working conditions, health care, pension, grievances, which we've got about 7. This is all tied in together, and it doesn't behoove us to interfere with this. We have another negotiations tomorrow morning, so, and arbitration as well. So I think that how you're talking about, not using the word, or stopping a position that's part of the bargaining process that I just mentioned that we're engaged in. An email went out to the offices mirroring our tentative agreement last night. It went out today. We're getting ready for a meeting tomorrow. I think both under the collective bargaining agreement, under the unfair labor practices, National Labor Relations Act, Public Employment Relations Commissions, you're interfering with the contractual negotiations by doing anything to touch that director's position right now.
Okay, Council Chair, I'd like to amend my budget.
Your motion?
I'm sorry, my motion.
I'm sorry, you want?
I didn't hear your voice, sorry.
Oh, no,
So soft-spoken.
no, I was going to say, is there anyone else? I was waiting for you to ask. Number 1, number 2, we have to talk about that, obviously. And the mayor's office, and we need to maybe hire, I mean, we got a budget for part-time, like Councilman Ahmed said. It doesn't matter if you have 50,000, doesn't matter if you have 10 at $5,000. It's the budget, so it doesn't matter how many you've got in there. But we gotta look at that, and you hire someone from the clerk's office and the treasurer's office, because they're both understaffed. And number 4, if we reduce the legal fees to 75,000, I think we should take the special legal counsel budget of 100,000 and reduce that to 75,000.
I'm for that.
Yeah, that way we can get another $50,000 and create money for a position. So 1, 2, and 3, yeah, 1, 2, and 3, I definitely want to talk about that later. Number 4, I'd like to reduce our budget, our special legal counsel budget to 75, from 100 to 75,000. And number 5, I mean, that's a great way to start saving money, because this position is vacant. So I think we should vote at least on number,
5.
the 4. What about number 4 though?
Well, number 4, we're going to take to a study session because we have to look at his budget as well.
Well, I mean, why? I mean, what do we have to look at?
We don't know how much, because what if he's not spending up to $75,000? What if he's only spending $50,000? And we're
That's
be
fine.
increasing it.
Yeah,
If we take 75, that's all he has, so he'll be at 0 right now.
yeah. So I mean, and we just said that we haven't spent any money on our special legal counsel, so to have it at 100,000.
By the way, I just want, I hope you, because I also saw that you had an opinion too on the special legal counsel that you would have never supported it if it went up to 100. I want to make something clear. You supported it when it went to 50, and we spent $0. That $50,000 from last year went right back into the general fund. So the city council spent $0 on special legal counsel. Moving to this year, what we did was, Councilman Ahmad requested that we moved it up. If we spend this entire year, if we spend $0, that $100,000 is going back into the general fund. And so now, just so you know, $0 of taxpayer money is went towards, until we've gotten a bill, which we've not gotten a bill, $0 of taxpayer money is went to special legal counsel.
Well, we could have a possible $100,000 though. It's
And we
possible.
could, and all we'd have to
That's
do
what I'm
is,
saying.
and all we would
I
have to
don't
do
want
is.
it to be that high.
Well, I personally don't think,
Well, it could.
well, if at $200 an hour, I'm gonna do some quick math for you.
Council
we have
Chair,
a
you
bill?
would
I
need the
mean-
hourly rate, and I don't think you've
Yeah, I
got a
mean,
bill
The
yet.
fact that we don't
but
have a bill yet.
But they've been very
concerns me.
active. They've been
Okay,
meeting
well, you
with the
could-
MMRMA lawyers,
Gary can give us a bill.
very active.
Current.
Yeah, we'll do a study session on it, and,
Well, I mean, we don't have to say, we can have the, Gary Miyake's give us right to date, to today, if he's got an invoice for us, or no, he's doing everything for free, or, just so we know and the residents know.
correct, I agree with
If we're
you.
getting charged for that.
I agree with you. One of the reasons why we said they weren't gonna they said that they weren't gonna bill was they were gonna wait to hear back from the judge's ruling. That's what, and we've not had a judge's ruling at this point. And it's been since March, February, March.
Is there any kind of time frame where we think we're gonna get a judge's ruling on this? Because
No.
it's,
We have not heard anything from the judge, and
Yeah,
really,
it's
I
getting
ask that everybody
ridiculous
refrains
now.
from kind of speaking up, since everybody's lawyered up. Might be some lawyers in the background, I'm not sure. But it's probably best that everybody just, better said nothing than say something on it. But if you want to lower that to 75,000, Councilman, I will even lower to 50,000. We spent $0 on the last year.
Yeah.
And so, but we just had to being proactive. But if you think even 50,000, it doesn't make a
well, I mean,
difference.
at least 75,000.
Oh.
We could,
Well, that's not on this amendment right here, so it would have to be on September 10th.
we
If you
could
want,
amend it.
you want to amend this, Councilman Ahmad, you want to amend that? To add a special legal counsel to be reduced to 75,000?
I'd rather take this to a study session with everything, or put that one to vote on it on the meeting, Tom. I'll
All right,
support
yeah,
it.
well, okay, we can take that.
Council Chair, I just want to make
Just
sure we're
vote on
not
number 5.
eliminating any of the people who work for me. I have a part-time person.
No.
No. They said 1 through 4 is going to stop, so
We're only voting on number 5.
Councilman Ahmad, stop. Councilman, I'm sorry, before you go anywhere, any other council members with any other discussion?
I'd like to
Councilwoman.
finish what I started
Yes,
earlier.
you did, I'm sorry, that's why I stopped my.
All right, okay. Well, number 4, we'll discuss in a study session, but number 5, I really think our police department knows what they need. So if they say there is a need, I think we should leave that possibility there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think the chief said he wants to speak. Primetime football is taking place at 8:20 kickoff.
I got painting to do.
All right. Good evening. So I just want to talk on the 5th one, Director of Police Operations position. So, that is a critical position, for the police department, just as a battalion chief would be critical for the, for the fire department. I suspect when that position comes vacant soon with the retirement, that, our city is not going to eliminate that position, because it's a leadership position and it's needed to run the police department or the fire department. And I would assume those spots that create vacancies as those people get promoted aren't going to be taken away either. So I would assume that the police department gets treated in the same type of manner. I think a lot of people need to truly understand, the contract negotiations, and before people comment on Act 78 or para or anything else, they need to understand what they're talking about. So when the director's positions were brought in, and they were negotiated with command. That CBA negotiated on a para takes precedence over Act 78, and that's proven case law. It's a fact.
Yes.
So
Nothing, please, you.
yeah. So with that, and I'm not trying to say anyone's not intelligent. It's a fact though. So with that being said, the CBA trumps. It trumps Act 78.
It's in litigation right now, so I'd rather
Well,
not even.
I am I'm the person who brought it to litigation,
Yeah.
so I can speak all I want on
Yeah.
it. So, and also.
But we can't,
this is-
so we can't even entertain it, because
Okay.
there's an injunction against us.
Okay, well, the injunction says that you guys can do your job,
Yeah.
and I can do my job.
Right.
It doesn't stop us from working together to get safety and processes and things done for the city. It doesn't state that just because you don't want to have the conversation that you can blame it on an injunction. It's very important that we provide public safety and policing for our residents. And by saying, oh, we can't talk about it because of the injunction.
Well, Chief, really, if you want to have the discussion with it, then number 5, the position is vacant right now under the council's in charge of the money. And the council says, well, when you guys want to fill that vacancy, since you want to have the discussion, we will fill that vacancy when you can bring us somebody properly before the council. And the money's going to stay in your department. So we're not going to ask it to leave your department. So when you have it, when you fill up that vacant, bring it for the council, ask for the approval. That's all we're doing here.
So with the position sitting there vacant, it's not affecting anything in a negative fashion, right? So if you're in charge of the money, I respect that. You guys do a great job, right? But I'm in charge of the positions which are listed in the contract. The Director of Police Operations position is listed in the contract. It was approved by you guys.
Approved by us.
Yes, approved by you guys.
The first time it never came before us.
Agreed to in the contract with Command, right? Command now owns that position, right? That position is not our position. It's vacant. It says that the CBA states that position now belongs to Command. Now, you could say we're going to eliminate that position, but that's not bargaining in good faith or following through with the contract that you approved by eliminating a spot within their union.
Council Chair. Sorry.
That council that we approved, by the way, Chief, we amended, right? There was an amendment made there, but then it went into litigation. But I want to make it also adjust it. If Command owns this position and that you guys agree to it, we also have the autonomy of every other director because the mayor chooses and the council concurs with it. And this is a director position. And so the charter says the mayor can choose a director under any position that was approved by the body. The charter does not say that the mayor can create a position and appoint a department head of that department, because there was never a department of police operations. But there became a director of police operations, but there was never a department. And the charter states otherwise. So I don't, but see, this is why I said that. I mean, it's opinionated so much on so many back and forth. I can tell you right now, on the record here, because I've been working hand in hand with you, Chief, and I've given you my word every single time, and you've given me your word every single time. You bring somebody back forward on this position, I'm going to 100% support whoever you bring, because that is, you are running the police department. I'm not going to tell you who I think is going to be the best person for that position. You're the police chief. But what I am going to say is, if this money is going to be allocated and a department is going to be created and there's going to be a director before it, the power of the legislative body is going to be able to make that yes or no. And that never happened in the past. But I'm here looking at you eye to eye and telling you I'm going to be a man of my word. Whoever you bring, just like you said, it's not harming anybody if the money's there, because the money's going to stay in there. It's not harming anybody if you come back before the council. What we're trying to do here, if you're not reading through the lines, is we're requesting proper policy and procedure. That's all we want. We don't care who you appoint. We don't care what's happening in the police department. But what we do care is that our voting power is not being stripped away. And that's what happens when these positions came through.
So what I'm trying to say is, we're working with the command right now about this position. As a matter of fact, we're meeting tomorrow, 10 o'clock again, pre-scheduled, to deal with this position so we can make sure that our operations in the police department are proper, right? So I think that, that position is, a defined position, and it is a position that command, if it is eliminated in any type of way, would be able to grieve the fact that position is not eligible for them. And I think that, if you give us maybe until next meeting, that we would have something for you. Maybe we include it in that study session. But I think tonight is a premature time to take a vote on this, because it's going to affect, and I believe that it's going to create multiple grievances that we can avoid by just delaying this a week or 2 weeks. And I do respect you guys, and I think we work well together. But, we're not always going to see eye to eye. But this one here, I do believe is in everyone's best interest to make sure that we, part of the city, including yourselves, have a good faith bargaining effort with command, and we can resolve this and get this taken care of so we can now fill that position, whether it's from someone else or whether it's through the Act 78 process, which currently that's the way it's supposed to be done.
Correct. I agree.
In fact, Council Chair, I would add to that, that the
Hang on one
collective.
second, Roger, I'm gonna let you go through,
Oh, I'm
Roger, I
sorry.
will let you go through.
I thought I was
Just keep in mind,
speaking to you.
Chief, that position that belongs to command is also not a union position. That position is non-union,
Well,
that
they
director
believe,
position
they
is
believe it is
non-union.
because in their contract, it states, it specifically states that the only positions,
Hang on.
the only positions in the police department that are excluded from the contract and from the union are the deputy chief and the chief of police. So therefore, according to the union, and they told me that they're going to file a grievance, is that that position is their position, and it's a union position, and we all agreed to it when we bargained last time.
In fact, after, Council Chair.
Roger,
after-
please, just, Roger, I
I'm trying to
know.
add information.
I'm gonna let you go, Council Chair, but Roger, you gotta go through the chair.
Wait, I'm
You
trying.
have to go through the chair, that's it.
Council Chair.
I'm gonna let Councilman Saab go,
No.
and then you're next.
No problem. Thank you, sir.
Council Chair.
Councilwoman, also, please, thank you, but I understand that, but I promised that Councilman he was next. Roger will go next, and Councilwoman, if you have something to say, I'll choose you next.
Council Chair.
Yes, sir.
This union is not a union position because believe me, if it was a union position, everybody in the union would have jumped on it. This position's been vacant for 2 months. If it's a critical position, it would have filled a reoccurring back-to-back. It's been vacant for 2 months, and I support Chief Swope, and I told him, you got my word on it. You bring this position back. The motion clearly says, it reads, the mayor may bring this position back if needed in the future with a qualified person for council's approval. That's all it says. This money right now, it's sitting, hey, we do need more police officers. You tell us no, the mayor tells us no, we need more police officers. There's crime in the city. We want to fight it. If we can hire 100 more police officers, we're going to do it. But right now, this position is such a critical position, has not been used in 2 months.
I'm doing all the work.
So why hasn't
You
it
know
been
what I
filled
mean?
up?
Because we're working with command, because the command
As of,
notified.
when was the first time you guys met with command regarding this?
Well, I've talked to their union many times. We
So
have a
when
great
was the official
relationship.
meeting?
Yesterday.
I didn't meet.
No, not you. I know you
Yeah.
weren't there. But
So,
when was the
yeah.
official meeting?
So that meeting,
June, July, Council Chair, if I may address you. In fact, what we're talking about in the collective bargaining agreement and the contract, and he's been filling the job and doing both jobs, but the contract says it becomes Act 78 after 2026. But now, part of the negotiations that the union is working with is when can we then transfer it, maybe even sooner? So I don't want to get into more details about it, but it's part of the bargaining positions being taken. And I don't agree that how it's just like it's been vacant and empty. It's a director of operations position, and it's been done by the chief. The command officers we met with again yesterday took time to go through how that position is going to open up other positions in the union and when it will go into the union. So I'm not going to go into the details. We do have an agreement that's, right now, it's confidential till we get it
Okay, let's take it to a vote.
detailed
Just Roger, just
and
for the
voted.
record, when you are
But you're
guys in
cutting me
another
off, sir, and I
meeting.
don't disrespect you by cutting you off. Please.
Point of order.
Council Chair,
I did.
I am saying that there are terms, yes, there's Act 78 involved, there's a time when Act 78 would come in, there's an issue involving when it will become, if it will become a union position, as well as new positions being added in relation for this position that the union wants. And I think it's premature and violates the collective bargaining agreements to interfere right now with this position or try to eliminate it or defund it. As of yet, I have not seen anything financially from Councilman Saab to justify any of these positions being eliminated.
None of them being
or done.
eliminated,
But
Roger.
that's all I'm saying.
Not even your 75,000.
If you're paying attention,
Which I
Roger,
reduced
it's
from
not.
342,000.
Yes, Councilman Constant. Chief, thank you.
So what I hear the chief saying, and this is a big issue, this was the issue from the beginning. So the contract was negotiated, those two positions were new and had been filled, but the contract was negotiated after that. So those, we have to hear from the police union and we have to hear from, management, what their position is, going forward regarding those two positions. That's always been the question. So the collective bargaining agreement was negotiated and signed after the two new individuals were in that position.
And their
No.
contracts.
Okay, guys.
Council Chair?
Yes, sir, Councilman.
Was that, do you have a question with that?
No, I think he was just reiterating what you
Is that
stated.
what you're saying?
It makes, what you said makes sense. If I understood you correctly, yes.
Mute that, please, for me. Go ahead, Councilman Wenzel.
Yeah, thank you. I voted no on this contract originally. I was the only one here that voted no on the command officer's contract, which included these new positions that were created without Act 78, and it was admitted in that contract that it was created without following Act 78 rules, but from now, and the contract said from now on, we'll follow Act 78. Now, just the fact that what Roger said is, this will become a union job, or we'll follow Act 78 in 2026, that right there, time out, I'm voting for this right now. I mean, that statement alone, 2026 is when we're gonna take this and follow Act 78 rules on
What
this?
he meant, what Roger meant was, my contract was good till 2026, but now it's vacated.
Well, it's gonna be following Act 78 immediately?
Well, keep in mind, we've
position?
never, Council Chair.
I
Roger,
know,
just
okay,
hang
I
on.
mean,
Let the councilman
there's no
finish.
harm in voting yes on number 5 right now, I don't think.
Okay,
Because
guys.
there's no one in that
Suggest
position
our
right now.
unions file a
And I
grievance
think
the minute
we're-
you do that.
As far as negotiating, I think we're giving the command officers false sense of something by saying that position is in there, when maybe it might be deemed illegal having that position.
They
Because it
claim
was
it's
never
theirs.
formed
They
legally.
claim it's theirs. Their union, not me.
Point of order, Council Chair, let's move on.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Council
Chief.
Chair, I just have, so another more correct way of saying it is, those two positions, the persons in those positions were not hired according to the Act 78 civil service rules. And in fact,
not-
the contract says that in the future, they will be hired pursuant to the Act 78 civil service rules. It's just a more correct way of saying what I think we're all saying.
Thank you.
Chair, I'm not saying I'm not talking about the person that's in that position. I'm talking about the position.
I know what you're
That's
saying,
okay.
Councilman. You're talking about the actual
The
position.
position, not any person that's in that position.
Council Chair, I would support, if I may, I would not argue against Councilman Wenzel
Zuhair,
saying.
Please, nothing from the audience, guys. Please.
Council Chair, I would just add that how the union is very sharp. They're on top of this, and they understand the positions that they want. There are other positions that they want also that are likely being created as well, without going into any more details. But Act 78 is considered, there's a collective bargaining agreement, and there's individual contracts that all have to be looked at. And for us to say, eliminate this director position, I think it may even violate our injunction. I'll bring it up, because that position is protected under there. But it's your call to decide what you can do tonight. I would not vote on this tonight. I think let the union handle it themselves and follow the collective bargaining rules.
Council Chair, I'd like to amend my motion to take items 1 through 4 to a study session.
So you want to just, no, hold on. Let's eliminate 1 through 4 and 11A. And you,
Come
and,
to a study session.
no, okay. That's a whole different part. You want to amend your motion to eliminate
1 through 4.
1 through 4. So we're not voting on Wade Trim, we're not voting on Plan Moran, we're not voting on the mayor's office, we're not voting on Rogers' legal fees. We're only voting on 5 on the Director of Operations of Police Department.
Support.
Motion made by Councilman Ahmad, seconded by
No, by Councilman Saab.
Motion made by Councilman Saab to amend his motion. George, do you have that? Danny? Yep. Yep.
Yeah, so, but I wanna also add some verbiage to number 5. I'd like it to say to amend the budget to remove the vacant position with the funds coming back to the general fund. The mayor may bring back this position if needed in the future with a qualified person with council's approval. The mayor may not introduce any new position without the council approval or spend the money without council approval.
You're just trying to spend the money.
And spend the money, that's it. And then as for the part for Act 78, I want to remove that out of the motion.
Support.
Motion made by Councilman, Ray, you can't make me laugh up here, Ray. Ray. Ray.
The general fund, it can be spent, man.
Yeah,
Yeah?
yeah. You should leave it in the police department budget.
Okay, I'll rephrase that to leave it in the police budget, but it's not to be spent without council's approval.
There you go. There you go. See what happens when you got a veteran in the audience?
You want to write it, you want to say it again?
Yes.
Council
So,
Saab?
Yes, you want me to reread it to you again? Okay, we'll start again. For number 5, the Director of Operations, to amend the budget and remove the vacant position of Director of Operations with the funds coming back to the police fund. The mayor may bring this position back if needed in the future with a qualified person with council's approval. The mayor may not introduce any new position without the council's approval or spend any of the money.
When you say that he's not to introduce a new position, you want to say a new director position?
A new director or leader position.
Okay.
Council Chair.
Or a civilian.
Let's vote.
No,
No,
that's a department. The police of operations, director of operations is a department. It's not a, you can't be a director of what department is he a director of?
council chair.
You know, of what department?
Operations.
Let's take it to vote.
Okay. All right. George, do you have everything you need? Dana, if you need him to read it one more time, he will.
All right. Number 5, Director of Operations, to amend the budget and remove the vacant position of Director of Operations with the funds coming back to the Police Department Fund. The mayor may bring back this position if needed in the future with a qualified person with council's approval. The mayor may not introduce any new director position without the council's approval, nor spend the money without council's approval.
Mr. Abdul Haq, please.
Support.
Motion made by Councilman Saab, seconded by Councilman Ahmad. Dana, are we good with that? George? Hearing no other discussion. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Madam, please take roll call.
Hassan Ahmad,
Yes.
Mobaydun,
Yes.
Nancy Breyer,
No.
Robert Constant,
Yes.
Denise Malinowski Maxwell,
Yes.
Hassan Saab,
Yes.
Tom Wenzel.
Yes.
Motion passes.
All right. Next up, we have 11B, Council Chair Pro Tem Ahmad, resolution opposing and the transportation of storage of radioactive material in Van Buren Township, Wayne County. Before we do read all of this, I believe Councilman Wenzel wanted to add on to this. So when you read it, let Councilman Wenzel add his part to this resolution.
Sure, I wanted to amend the two to add, because Madam Treasurer and Madam Clerk reached out to me and they wanted to be on this motion resolution
Yep.
too.
And so we want to amend this to,
include Madam Treasurer and Madam Clerk.
okay.
I move that the Dearborn Heights City Council approve the resolution opposing the transportation and storage of radioactive materials in Van Buren Township, Wayne County, whereas the health and safety of the citizens of Wayne County is of utmost importance, and whereas the transportation and storage of radioactive materials possess significant risk to public health, safety, and the environment. Whereas it has come to our attention that the radioactive waste is slated to be transported to a hazardous waste facility in Van Buren Township, Wayne County. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of Dearborn Heights opposes the transportation and storage of radioactive materials in Van Buren Township, Wayne County, and urges the Wayne County Board of Commissioners, the State of Michigan, and federal authorities to take all necessary measures to prevent the transportation and storage of radioactive materials in the region. Be it further resolved that the City Council of Dearborn Heights requests regular updates and information on any proposals or actions related to the transportation and storage of radioactive materials in Van Buren Township, Wayne County. Be it further resolved that the City Council of Dearborn Heights stands in solidarity with the citizens of Van Buren Township and surrounding communities in opposing the storage of radioactive materials in the region as outlined in 11-B.
Second.
Hang on, before we get a second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And, so I want to add whatever Councilman Wenzel wanted to add to this.
Yeah.
So,
I want-
and,
Yeah. Well, whereas Wayne County lies in the, I don't know how to state this, in an area with the largest fresh water supply in the world, and we're risking contaminating the world's largest supply of fresh water. And therefore, let it be resolved that the city of Dearborn Heights do no business with any contractor or subcontractor that is involved with hauling or storing or transporting this radioactive material.
Second.
Good job, Councilman. I love that twist to it. Motion made by Councilman Ahmad.
Second.
With the add-on of Councilman Wenzel and seconded by Councilman Saab. Any discussion on this? I will say, Councilman, thank you for this to all of you guys. Thank you to the treasurer. Thank you to the clerk. I know that the county executive, Warren Evans, has also brought some attention to this, has been holding some meetings on this. So has the deputy county executive. So I want you guys to know personally, to me, I'm actually scared. Like, this goes around. This is like detrimental to our children, to our crops, to our fresh water. And you know, it's scary to think that Wayne County and Dearborn Heights and you know, all of Wayne County is a place where we want to start dumping this radioactive stuff. And so to me, I'm truly, I'm scared, you know? But I thank the councilman for bringing this forward.
Yeah, I want to thank Councilman Med, because I was working on this when I found out he was doing it, saved me some time. But, you know, there is a big factor too, you know, it's storing it, and it's not necessarily going to stay here. You know, they could transport it again somewhere else, but the transportation is the fact that they're transporting it through our roads, and an accident could happen, and that would be catastrophic. I mean, we don't even want that stuff in our state at all. I mean, I can't see, I think it's coming from like Arizona or something.
New York.
Does it come from New York? Okay. Well, so I mean, yeah, I mean.
They're coming to Wayne County, like, why?
Why do they leave it there?
Especially, you know, with our bad roads, and the trucks driving on our bad roads, you know, but, still, seriously, I mean, I don't even want that stuff being transported at all in the state of Michigan, not even coming in here at all. I don't know what we could do is, this resolution, I know it's stating our opinion of what we think, but we've got to take it a step further and come up with some kind of blockage, you know, of this even happening. Not that we're just against it, but what can we do with our
Can we have our police department stop them from coming through our roads? I know it's against the law, the right to reverse, but.
I mean, we
Coming
should
down
look at our state
94, they
police,
said.
contact the state police or something. I'm sure the people are doing something like this, but just saying we're against it is just saying we're against it. We have to take some kind of action to keep this from happening.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Council Chair, sadly, this is the least we could do for our Wayne County residents, for our city residents, for our families, for our kids. Like Councilman Wenzel said, we should probably do more. At this time, I'm not sure what we can do. I know it's something in the federal court, but I mean, we can keep voicing our opinion to Wayne County, to the governor. So I hope, and somehow we can send this probably to the governor. We can send this to the Wayne County executive, just to show them exactly where we stand, and we're not going to stop here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council Chair.
Anytime. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. Next up, we have members of the public. I'm going to skip over to council members.
Oh,
We're going to go straight to members of the public. Or unless you guys want to go to administration first. Anything from administration?
Public.
Straight to public
He's
comment.
jumping up
Yep,
over there.
yep.
Council Chair.
6 more minutes before the
Yes,
game.
Council.
I just want to say, I mean, Councilman Muscat hit the nail on the head. We should be going line by line, and the administration should be working with us.
Ray Muscat, Havelock Street. Thank you, Councilman Constant. Proud of you guys, the way you handled this tonight.
Are you going to go on social media?
Yeah, I will say
praise
that. I'm proud of
You're
the
so
way
quick to
you
punch
handled
us.
this. It was very refreshing, very good discussion going on. The Corporation Council made some good points that you need to listen to, I think, okay? I'm not involved in it as deeply as you guys are, but that's my opinion only. The other thing I wanted to bring up was traffic situation in Dearborn Heights. I don't think our courts are really helping us any. And I'm not just saying that about Dearborn Heights court systems. I'm talking about everywhere. The way that people drive and the way they get off on just little fines or just pay the fine of what the ticket would be doesn't help us any. These people need to be ticketed, sent to their insurance company, sent to Lansing, because they're never going to learn. Why are we paying the county or whomever we pay to stripe the streets when nobody even knows what those stripes mean on the road. Okay? People driving left-hand turn lanes, merging from the left-hand turn lanes, turning right onto Ford Road using all three lanes with just cutting people off. Nobody has anywhere to go. So I think our court system needs to step up their game, okay? And on another note, and this is not to embarrass anyone, but I've contacted each one of you, and everybody's given me a call back but you, Councilman Wenzel. And I want to know, I'm still a citizen of this city, and I deserve a phone call back from my councilman. So the next time I call you, I know you're busy, but you're supposed to return my call. You're supposed to return my call. I don't care if I'm yelling at you, cutting you off, cutting you down. I deserve a phone call from you, because when I was a councilman, I returned all phone calls, regardless of what they are. And I'm very disappointed that you don't call me back, okay? And you tell other people, oh, you're too busy, you're too busy. Not busy for them, but too busy for me.
I tell I was too busy.
I'm just
I
saying.
never said I was too busy. I said I just.
Let him finish, Councilman, let him finish.
I'm just saying, I deserve a phone call back from you. You're my councilman, okay? Everybody here has returned my phone calls. I've had coffee, talked with Councilman Mo Beydoun.
5 hours.
Councilman Saab, Nancy Breyer calls me, I call her back. I call her. Councilman Constant, we're constantly texting back and forth. But I deserve a phone call back from you, sir.
Council Chair, I mean, if he called me at a time he was bashing me on social media.
I don't care if I bash you, I got bashed.
Hey, point of order.
No, but I'm just saying, I didn't feel like.
I deserve a phone call.
Hey, Ray, point of order, Ray. Point of order.
I've called you before.
I know, Ray. Come on, Ray.
Council Chair,
Come on, Ray.
I've called him several times.
Come on.
I
Come on.
called you several times.
No, you haven't.
Hey.
Here's my phone.
Hey.
Check my phone.
Hey, guys.
I've never
Come on,
called
Ray.
you.
Come on. Hey,
I've never called you.
Point of
Ray.
order. Come on.
I've never called
Check
you.
my phone.
Come on.
Ray, I've never called you.
Settle down, Ray.
I've never
Come
called
on.
you, Ray.
Officer, it's all right. Let's just give him back his phone. Ray's all right.
Yeah, that's a lie. I've called him many times.
Hey, come on.
Point of order.
I called you back, not recently.
Go ahead.
Not recently.
Fine. You know what? Let me have him out of here, please.
Yes, Ray.
You don't call me back.
I'll just,
Please, yeah.
I'll hear your opinion on social media, Ray.
I don't have to kick him out?
No, he's settled.
Yeah.
Settle down now.
Okay.
He gets, man.
The chief, but you know, right now, there's a lot going on right now, and I hope, we want to settle this down.
We're settled.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do it.
Council Chair, you called the shots here,
Yeah.
not the chief.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know Ray,
he calls
we
the
know
shots.
how he
Hey,
can go.
point of order. I know. This is administration versus council rule. Come on. I want to just say something. Ray, can you settle down, please?
I will.
Chief, if it gets worse, can you call the shot, and then if anything gets worse, will you take action then, chief? Because things are getting bad here. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
So do we.
But we
Yeah.
know Ray.
Yeah, you, okay,
He's going to settle
perfect.
down.
Things are bad. I think the officer felt like things were getting bad in here too. This is a councilman at the end of the day, right? So he's a resident as well. And great. I also want you to, not screaming and throwing your phone and pushing over on this bar. And just stand there and act like this didn't happen.
Can we discuss this outside, but
Thank
let's
you.
move forward and
Hang
let's
on,
get out
before
of
we
this
go any
room.
further, Roger, please stop. I witnessed what just happened in here, which can all be for
I'm
you.
just giving advice.
Please stop, Roger.
Point of order, Roger.
I will say this, Ray, I know how you feel, and you're frustrated right now, and you want what's best. But I want to just be frank with you. The councilman doesn't want to return your call. He also has the First Amendment right to not return your call.
He's my councilman.
And you don't vote for him then.
I think you're wrong.
No, I'm not wrong. He does not need to return your call. Nothing in the chart, nothing says.
Say about it, the man doesn't return my phone call.
And that's,
Obviously, he doesn't care about me as a citizen.
maybe that's so. I can tell you I've returned your phone calls.
Yeah, you have. Everybody here has.
But he does not need to return your phone call. He really doesn't.
Well, I guess that's not very good for a councilman.
It's not. And so when you want to vote next time, just don't vote for him. You want to bash him, you can go ahead and bash him, right? Like you said, we've all stood over here and been bashed, but like throwing our phone, using God's name in vain, crossing over here. I mean,
When the man tells me he called me back,
I know, Ray, but you know what? You just got to stay calm. You got to stay calm, Ray.
Yeah. Council Chair, I never said I called him back.
You did.
I said I've called you before. He said you never called me. I said I've called you. I didn't say I called you back. I never, look at the tape. I never said I called you back.
Anyways,
Tom, you're about as full of it as
all right.
Point of order, Council Chair. I mean, come on.
Come on, I mean,
Okay,
you know,
he just gets that way.
Come on.
officer, you know, we don't want anybody in intrude, everything's fine.
He's
Everything's
fine.
fine.
He just gets a little hot sometimes. We've been with him for too many years.
All right, all right.
That's about what you know.
Mr.
Mr. Abdul Haq, you have 3 minutes. Please state your name, the city you reside in, and the street that you live on.
Zuhair Abdul Haq, Rosemary. I believe Tom and Ray are friends, good friends for a long time. They work together. Maybe there is just a little misunderstanding. We'll work on clear it up, and they will always stay our friend, and they stay close friends because both of them care about the city, and I know each other. They care about each other deeply. I just want to clarify one more thing about what I said at the beginning. When the mayor hired the 2 positions for directors, he did not have the approval of the Commission of Act 78. After he hired them and they filed the grievances and lawsuits against him, the commissioners in the union, he went and gave up some things in the contract, then they approved the contract. They will allow him to do this one time only, which brings it back that what he did was illegal. I stand by it, and I did file a petition to recall him based on that. And I agree that whatever the agreement with the union trumped this and that, yes, that is true. But it was done before the agreement happened, which means he should own his mistake and say, I'm sorry, and it happened, it will not happen again. That's what a gentleman would do. Thank you, and have a good night. And really thank you for all the discussion you did. It is enlightening to see this, intelligent discussion going on in the city. And thank you for everything you're doing to protect the city, to protect the money, and to spend it properly. You guys have a good night.
You too, thank you.
Any other comments from the public? We're going to take this, okay, go ahead.
All right, Drapkowski, Columbia Street. I said this in the past. If we need some employees to fill positions temporarily, how about we call some of our old employees to come back and fill in positions on a part-time basis? It just takes a phone call. There's a lot of them out there that'd be happy to come back and help out. Secondly, the letter that you're sending out to the environmental people, you guys don't realize how much biohazardous material is shipped in from Canada into Michigan. We need something done on that also. This is all being controlled by Eagle and our governor. That stuff's got to stop. If you want to protect our lakes and everything else like that, you better start stopping the biohazardous materials as well. Thanks.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience?
We've got Tim Emery up there.
Yep, I see that.
Council Chair, just 1 second. This young lady, right, you're here to say something or no? No, I'm sorry, just making sure that you're aware it's public comment.
Like a Jerry Springer show. Next up on Zoom, we have Tim Emery.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Last night at the meeting they had at Van Buren out at the Wayne County Community College, you can hear me, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Debbie Dingle said that we need to get after our elected officials, the House and Senate in Michigan to pass an ordinance so we can't bring this stuff back to Michigan, we don't bring it to Michigan. So they were very adamant about that. It was on the news last night, So if you want to go back and see what she said. But I don't know what was wrong with what came up last week when the mayor brought it up. But I'm glad you finally passed it. Have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you. Next up, we have SK. Please state your name, the city you reside in, and the street that you live on.
Sue Kibitsky, Dearborn Street, Dearborn Heights. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Sue.
I just wanted to let everyone know that in Golfview Manor the other night, we had an occurrence about 1:10 a.m. where 3 individuals were found by Ring camera going into cars. And I let you know this, the police did apprehend them, and I appreciate the response from the police. But Golfview Manor doesn't usually have crime, and I really would like to see patrols in this area. We're on the west side of the city, and I feel like we tend to get forgot about, and we don't get patrols. So that's all.
Thank you, Sue. Can you send me an email and I'll send it over to the chief?
I absolutely will. Thank you, Mo.
Thank you, Sue. Anyone else? Seeing none, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I will move.
Comments from council members.
I was skipping that, but since I'll open that back up.
Council
Go ahead,
Chair.
Councilman.
I have a few things. I just want to put this on the record. Last night, I was at an event, and I had a resident come approach me in front of a couple council members. The mayor went out saying a statement to some residents that myself and Mr. Mike Shahadi, that we had asked the mayors to provide us, we wanted free properties from him, and that's why we're against him, because he wouldn't do so. I just want to say something to the mayor, and I'm putting this on the record. As a councilman and as a resident, that was cowardly, that was wrong, and that is baseless, without merit. And I'm going to ask you again, Mayor, and I sent you the email last night, which was attached. Stop interrupting me. Roger, stop interrupting me. Stop interrupting me.
This is attacking. This is why we have this situation.
You're telling me attack, but he can go attack and say.
You don't bring it up. This is not the forum.
The chief just said First Amendment, right?
This is not the forum to attack people personally.
Stop interrupting.
Because I like him to have a chance.
Stop interrupting. Point of order.
Roger, please, Councilman,
Point of order.
Point of order.
Guys, I want to finish this meeting. We've been here for 3.5 hours on a study session and 2 things on the agenda. I mean, come on.
If the mayor was not cowardly, and I'll say this again, he would come here and face the public comments and face the residents that said this.
Well, you could say it to you.
Stop interrupting me, Roger.
Guys,
You can say
I'm not talking. Is your name Bill Bazzi?
please, guys, please. Come on. Roger. Roger. Roger.
I didn't know where we hired somebody to talk on directly behind some people.
Please,
Let me
Roger,
finish.
please.
Stop interrupting me. Stop interrupting me.
Please, guys, come on, Haas. You also got to tone it down. Let's just finish this.
Every time I talk, he interrupts.
I know. Roger, please, can you stop that? Can you give me your word that you're going to stop? Thank you.
I know you like me
Thank
that
you.
much, but I don't.
Thank you. Let's just go, Haas.
Just for the record, I did get legal counsel, and so did Mr. Shahadi. This is absolutely unacceptable. The mayor always goes out in public, plays victim. Yesterday, at a union meeting, half of the meeting was council getting bashed. If you're going to talk serious bargaining and negotiations, talk negotiations. Don't come for council.
You weren't there.
Council, stop interrupting.
Council Chair.
Stop. This is my right to talk. Stop interrupting.
Don't interrupt.
Stop interrupting.
I will tell him, Councilman, stop. I will be the one to tell him that. Roger, please stop. Councilman, let me tell him.
He doesn't understand the word please stop. Maybe give him sign language.
I know. Let's just let it go. I will be the one to tell him.
Jesus.
Come on.
Maybe they should focus more on actual city issues. Number 3, I want to actually congratulate Mr. Shahadi as he closed on one of the largest properties in the city of Dearborn Heights yesterday, worth millions of dollars, right off of Fort Ordnance Arbor Trail, the Mary Ann Hills Missionary. And Mr. Shahadi is actually on Zoom, and Mr. Shahadi is aware I'm talking about this, and so are council members here from last night who are included on this email. The public could go bash people without merit for his benefit. A political benefit is just absolutely wrong. and I will not stand as an elected official or as a resident. Nor would I have his attorney keep attacking me at council meetings. Thank you, Council Chair.
Thank you. I'm just going to say a couple of things here on this comment. First and foremost, I know people are entitled to their First Amendment right. I don't believe anybody's entitled to, come towards a council member, throw his phone, hit this over, and as the council chair say, hey, like this ain't gonna happen, and chief says, no, leave him. I'm gonna have to disagree with the chief on that order, who I respect dearly, but I didn't like the way that was happening. Secondly,
I hope it doesn't happen again, Council Chair. It shouldn't happen again.
Council Chair, these are the chambers.
Thank you. Secondly, I respect Councilman Saab really during that study session today. I was impressed. I was impressed the way you knew your stuff. You came in with the proof. You showed how there was, no of those, the concrete that was being poured, showing the videos. You came prepared to this study session, and so I want to say, Councilman, I'm proud of you. Third, Roger, please, I'm legit. There's a account here on Zoom that's called Roger Point of Order. I am begging you, please respect the council chair, respect the chambers, respect these council members. When I ask you, if three of the council members are telling you point of order, you've got to be able to give a little bit of respect to us. You've got to let the councilman who has his First Amendment right, as an attorney, you should know, let him say what he wants to say. And if you want to rebuttal that, you want to speak after, speak after. But speaking over somebody or interrupting somebody constantly at every single meeting, it's just becoming so frustrating. So please, can you stop this?
Yes,
Lastly,
Council Chair, yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Would you let me have a chance to respond?
Can I finish my time? I'm just asking the guys, these meetings are going extremely long. We spent a lot of time here through the study session, and some things were said today by outside contractors that I didn't like hearing. We're getting this really bad image of our city, of bids, and when people do business with the city, and people talking about why does our fire station look like this, and why haven't we stolen? I got a new fire station, and what's going on with on social media about our police department, and why are we losing this? Guys, we really have become the talk across different municipalities. We really got to tone it in, and it starts with me. It starts with this council. We need to do better, and so maybe it means we need to start working, hand in hand with each other, guys. It's really becoming so ugly, and I hate going to the grocery store and hearing that the mayor talked about me. Right? I hate the fact that the councilman has to come over here and saying he was at a fundraiser last night, which I was at the fundraiser, but I wasn't standing next to them. But I believe a couple of the council members were there. To say that, somebody was bribing or taking money or doing this, shame on any of that type of talk. Now, whether it's true or not, the fact that a resident is saying it to me and I told you guys, when a resident approached me and said, the administration, the mayor knocked on my door and made it seem like he was the victim and you guys were the problem. It's just got to stop, because let me tell you, I can be the one that goes on Facebook and I can tell you something right now. I'll break my silence, and if I break my silence, I promise you, I'm going to get a lot of people that are going to start seeing my side. And what I've tried to do here is tone it down. I've been trying to stay quiet. But if I need to be the one that comes out and says I'm the one being mistreated, I've been the one that have been sworn at, I've been the one that have been sitting in a meeting and disrespected. I just watched a councilman get his phone thrown at him. We went through a barrier of this thing and pushed it. Use God's name in vain. What are we becoming? We got to relax. We really got to relax a little bit. And as far as defunding the whole police department, which I don't know why this whole thing is still being said, I'm going to put a resolution next week, in support of this entire body, saying that this council supports our police department, and we are not defunding the police department. Yes. And I'm going to ask for police officers in our police department to sign it, and I'm going to ask the chief to sign it. And anybody that's in that department that does not sign it, well, I'll know that you're part of the problem of making these lies. And I promise you, I'm going to get a lot of elected officials, and not just our police department, but other departments, Michigan State Police, County, Dearborn. I'm going to ask them to support, because they know who we are. They know we're not defunding the police. Today there was a position that's vacant. We're saying if you want this position, come back for the council. I looked the chief in the eyes and I said, whomever you bring, we'll support you. You're the chief at the end of the day. You make that decision. I don't operate your police department, and nor do I want to operate your police department. But what I will tell you is I still have voting power. And that voting power is to say, If you're gonna bring somebody, you need the concurrence of these 7 council members, at least majority. 3/4 of us have to vote yes. That's all we're saying. Regardless of what was talked about in any bargaining agreement. And you know what? I apologize for the 3rd time to Councilman Wenzel on that. Because he told me not to vote on yes on that. But I also didn't want to stop away from giving our police officers, a better quality of life by giving them more money to their pockets. Truly, I was put in a very bad position. That's all I have to say today.
Council Chair.
Councilwoman?
All right, on the message of respect, I've been approached by friends and some of my seniors that you don't always respect elders, in particular me. And sometimes you skip Bob and I when we're trying to do things. And I think that should be.
I apologize. I truly do.
That should be taken care of.
I apologize, and I own it, by the way. I'm nobody, if I make a mistake, sometimes it's hard sitting here controlling the residents from speaking and
I know.
kind of the back and forth. I apologize, but I can tell you, anytime I can try to get you to second, or anytime you request on something, I request, I try to support that. I really do. And Councilman Constant, if you feel that way too, tell me, I apologize.
Council Chair, I just have one thing, if you don't mind.
Honestly, it's done.
No, I know,
Councilman.
I'm not fighting with anybody.
I know, it's done. Please. I'm gonna let Roger go next.
Council Chair, thank you for a chance to giving me a chance, an opportunity to speak. I think that's one thing that's frustrating is when I get cut off or told but not called on. I just want to say, and I want to reach out to Councilman Saab. I'm trying to say,
I'm finished.
You see, when we try to speak, we have to have a demeanor where we can communicate and meet. I have a good I think a favorable relationship with everyone on council. I don't have any animosity to anybody. I don't want animosity. I think we have to find common ground. I think Council Chair, you're trying your best to bridge and build administration and council. I don't want us fighting like Warren had. Warren ran up $900,000 in legal fees, the mayor fighting the council. That's not what we want. We want a situation where we have a lot of projects we have to build that we're not. We have a gentleman coming in for Living Cities next week that's going to talk about how to change renters into homeowners, how to give them 15,000 grants, how to give 100,000 to small businesses so we can redistribute our city, take care of Van Born. We have EB5 projects, what we want to do for Main Street for the city. I'm just saying I work for all of us, and I don't like being attacked, but it's part of the game. I understand that. I think if we don't attack one another in this public forum, go to the person that you have a problem with and confront them with it face-to-face peacefully, and not use this as a forum to attack people, to build a reputation or gain followers. Go one-on-one with the person. Don't attack them in the public here. Then you get a resolution, because now it's retaliation, and that's what we don't want. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other councilman? Councilman Wenzel.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Mike Ciotti on acquiring that property, and I'm hoping he develops it something that benefits the residents of Dearborn Heights. Congratulations, Mike, on that. And this Saturday, September 27th, is the 32nd annual Dearborn Heights Firefighters Chili Cook-Off. It starts at noon, and that's till dusk. It's a great event, it's a great family event, so go out there. It's at Parkland Park. Go out there with your family. It's a really fun time, games and stuff to go all day long. It's supposed to be a good time. And tomorrow night at 8 o'clock at Swapka Park in south end of Dearborn Heights, we have a movie night. It's an outdoor movie night. It starts at 8. There'll be refreshments, concession stand open. And City Council, along with our clerk's office and our treasurer's office, is hosting and organizing our first annual Dearborn Heights Employee Family Picnic. And, yeah, long overdue. And it's going to be held on September 21st at the Elite Sports Center on Kenlock Street. And it's from
2 to 6.
Yeah, it's from 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock. And we want all of our employees to show up. It's going to be a great time. We have games, activities. We're having a baked bean battle. Bring your best baked bean recipe. Prizes awarded for the best baked beans. And we're maybe thinking about a softball game also, if we get enough employees that want to play softball. And we're looking for sponsors for the event in the form of monetary donations, food donations, or raffle items. You can contact any of city council member here if you have any kind of donations for this event. Thank you, Council Chair.
Thank you, guys.
I'll donate to this, Tom. It's a
Thank
great
you.
event.
Thank you.
Any other comments from council? Okay, now can I see a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Councilman Saab,
Second.
seconded by Councilwoman Breyer. All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. Thank you.